How do you let go of the people that you had to leave behind when you went no contact with a narcissist? Perhaps there are siblings, perhaps there are friends, or even family members of the narcissistic person that you really love, that you wish that you could help escape from their grip. You wish that you could still be in a relationship with them without exposing yourself to the toxic person and to these dynamics. You no longer want to be part of that. Or perhaps it was the narcissistic person who discarded you, and as they did that, they went into a smear campaign, bad-mouthing you, turning people against you, people that you loved, making them believe things about you, perhaps horrible things, creating suspicion and creating diversion and conflict. Perhaps that's what happened. It is so painful to, and unfortunately very common when you are involved with these toxic people. That is why they are so destructive. And that is one of the reasons why I chose to be no contact. And actually one of the reasons why I chose to be no contact with some of the healthy people that I love. Because I didn't want this toxicity and sickness to touch my kids. I want to create something new for them. I want to be a cycle breaker. So I want to leave that. I had this vision. I was walking, or vision, I had this insight. I was out walking, and then I saw this. There is like some sort of, I don't know what it is called. It's like a tree mold or some moss that infects the trees and make them sick. It spreads between the trees. So I walked and I watched this thing on the stems and on the branches, and I thought about this narcissism and toxicity in my family and how it spreads and it infects everyone. And if I want to grow something healthy, right now it's just me and my kids, and moving away from all of that makes me sometimes feel lonely. But in the future it won't just be us. This is a transition time that is very painful, but eventually they will grow up and they will have their families. We will build new roots here, and I will build new friendships, and I will have around this garden that I'm building, there will be fences that keeps the toxicity out. Those fences are my ability to see toxic and my ability to put down boundaries around us, and distance myself from that toxicity, so not invite it in. And that's what you are doing as well, I'm sure. If you're missing these family members, you didn't walk away because you don't care about them. Sometimes the most caring thing to do is to walk away. And I will tell you why I think that. When you're contemplating if you're going to leave the toxic family dynamic, if you're going to leave the narcissist, if you're going to go no contact, you are choosing between two bad options. There is no easy and perfect solution. If you stay, you won't rock the boat. No one will right then and there be hurt by your decision. You will not cause any confusion, and you will be able to still be part of that family or community. And that brings some positive things. So there will be some moments that are happy. There will be some community feel, perhaps especially around holidays and such. And those are the positive things. But as you're staying, there are some negatives as you're staying. First of all, you are not rocking the boat, which means that you are not exposing the toxic person. And they can use you to be part of their mask. Because you're still in contact with them, people don't see their true face. They can blame you for things going wrong, or they can say that you have said something that causes confusion and that causes separation. And they can still hurt you, even if you know that they are toxic and you're trying to distance yourself. There may be people around you, perhaps a healthy spouse, perhaps minors that you are caring for, that will be influenced by the narcissist. They typically are very kind and caring towards children that they want to influence and that will bond them to them. And then you don't know exactly what they are saying when you're not there. One of the reasons why I chose to go no contact with my mother was that I realized that she was trying, first of all, she was favorizing my son, giving him more expensive gifts, for example, and for Christmas, and something less thoughtful to my daughter. But she was also trying to give him special favors without asking me. And I caught her lying about my daughter to make me suspect that she was lying or doing bad things. So even though outwardly the kids had their grandmother there, and especially my son, who she favorized, really liked her, she was already beginning to get into their minds, causing division and confusion. And that is not real love. That is something that will hurt them and hurt their relationships. And so she wasn't doing it out of love for them. She was doing it for selfish reasons, to manipulate them and to get some, well, we call it supply in the community when the narcissist gets some positive attention, or so from a child. It is, I think, quite energizing to have a child idealize you, and also quite cheap because, when you give a child candy, for example, they really will like you. But it may not be the best thing for the kid to have candy all the time. And idealizing a child like this can be the same thing. So the purpose is not to benefit the kid or to build a strong self-esteem. That idealization, it comes with a price. So if they don't, first of all, it opens them up to be influenced because they trust this person. But second of all, what happens when they don't obey or do what they say? Well, then they will go cold and the child will start to question themselves. And this is what happened to us when we grew up, or at least to me. If you were growing up in a toxic family, that affected us a lot. And that was one of the reasons why we couldn't see when we grew up that the person we choose as a partner were toxic, because we were used to these idealization and going cold, these cycles. It was what we grew up with, so we didn't see it as abnormal. So the other option is to leave and to go no contact, and in a way to unmask the narcissist. Even if you don't say anything to anyone why you're stepping away, It will be you taking a stance, and it will lead to people reflecting a bit more. And when they feel that something is off, because they are also struggling with this perhaps, these feelings of should I leave or should I stay, what is best? And if you have left, you have taken a stance for that option to leave. And that might influence them, the healthy people who are still in that relationship dynamic. It might influence them to, in the future, take a similar decision or to distance themselves a bit, or to learn a bit more about what is going on, to be a bit curious. So to ever have a chance to reunite with those people that you love in building something healthy, you have to step away. And I think that's the most powerful thing that you can do, even though it is horribly painful. I have also been so I have been grieving this a lot, the people that I had to leave behind. And a book that really helped me is this one. And this one, it's in Swedish, but you can find it in English as well. It's by Hyun Seo Lee. And she escaped North Korea as a 17-year-old young woman. And it's sort of similar. So North Korea is a dictatorship, and when you're in that system, you have to follow the rules. And there are, of course, mental effects and a lot of negative effects on your life by being there. But if you are walking away, so if you leave North Korea, you can never be in contact, or it's very, very hard to be in contact with family members that are still in that system. And she is, in this book, she's struggling with this grief of having left her mother and brother behind. And they are not willing to leave North Korea. In the end they do, but I think it's after 10 years or something. So they're not willing to walk away and leave their relatives there. And it's the same thing if someone leaves a sect. Often there is this rule that when you leave a sect or a cult, then the family will disown you, so they won't speak to you or be in a relationship with you. And there are many now that has compared the narcissistic family system to a cult. The narcissist that is in control of that family dynamic resembles a cult leader. So if you don't go with their version of things, and if you speak up, then you become the scapegoat. They try to punish you so that you will change, or sometimes they scapegoat you even though you are trying your best, because they need a scapegoat. But if you don't better yourself and apologize, then you are their enemy, and they might try to sabotage you, and definitely try to turn people against you and make them not speak to you and not be in contact with you, because you're now disloyal to the leader, to the narcissistic family cult leader. So how do we deal with this, the grief? Because it is a grief to be separated from people that we love and to leave the relationships behind, not knowing if they will ever be taken up again. There is a process of grieving. Elisabeth Kubler-Ross have written a lot about this. She was a psychiatrist from Switzerland who was active in the US. And she talked about the 5 stages of grief. So first there is denial. You don't want to accept what happened. You don't want to accept that you have to leave them behind. You can't be in a relationship with them. And then there is bargaining. You think that, well, perhaps if I do this or that, I can still make it work. Or and then there is, I think, anger, or probably anger is number 3. There has been some discussion lately, and I've seen someone expand on her stages, make it 7 or so. But anger, you're feeling angry for this having happened. Perhaps anger at the persons who are staying behind and not seeing what you're seeing, or anger at the abusive person who is forcing this separation on you. And then sadness over the situation, and eventually you come to acceptance. And you can move back and forth over these stages. That's normal, and it can take time. After we leave such a dynamic, there is so much to grieve. Sometimes it can feel overwhelming, but it's normal and it takes time. Educate yourself so that you understand more about these dynamics. It's important to accept that you cannot save someone else, you cannot rescue them against their will. We all have our own path. They have to come to that decision for themselves. Something that Elisabeth Kubler-Ross also writes about in her books is that if you try to rescue someone from a situation, then usually they will go into a similar situation like the one that you rescued them from. They will fall into the same trap again because they have not learned the lesson. So say that you could rescue them from that relationship with a narcissist. Then there is a high risk that they will get into another toxic relationship, and so you can't help someone against their will. You have to accept that they're on their own path. Of course, she makes a distinction, Elisabeth Kubler-Ross, like between rescuing or aiding or helping. So if the person that you're thinking about comes to the decision that I want to leave, I want to get out of this, but I don't really know how, and they ask you for help, then you can help them or guide them, but they have to do the big work themselves. So that's the difference between rescuing, which you should not do, but helping you can. But they have to be willing themselves, and they have to take the steps. So you should not drag them out of there. You can pray for those people still in it. Pray for them to see and build your own world, the healthy garden that you're trying to build. Focus on that. Know that this transition time is painful, but it may be necessary for you to focus inward and work on yourself, and eventually expand on that new world and make it a beautiful and joyful place that perhaps someday those people that you're thinking about can come and be a part of. I've heard someone say that when you move, you still have your roots. You have to plant yourself and give yourself nourishment, and then you can grow there again in that new place. So when we move, we take with us our roots. So I know that you are sad, and it's a confusing thing, a very hard thing to have to make these decisions and cut out people that we once loved, and with that sometimes cut out people that we still love and care for, but we can't help at the moment. But you had a very good reason for making the decisions that you did. Keep going forward. You are not alone. We are many. In the description below, I will link to this book in English and couple of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's books that I've read and found helpful. I do read a lot, and I am going to, in some videos when it's suitable, recommend the book, and then I will put a link. And so I want to be completely open with you. I will put affiliate links when I recommend these books, and it's not someone having reached out to me, but I discovered that if you have a channel and if you want to recommend something, you can download like a link from Amazon, and then it doesn't cost anything for the viewers, but the channel gets paid a bit if you choose to use that link. So I'm not recommending anything that I wouldn't recommend otherwise, but I'm thinking, why not benefit the channel a bit, because there are so many people out there who need help, and need helps in the comments, reaching out to me by email, and I really want to put more time into this work. So yeah, if I get some income from this, I'm using it to create more content and to help survivors. So yeah, that I want to be open with it, and I'm very I really don't want to compromise this message. So the most important thing for me is to give you the information and the guidance and the survivor support. So I'm trying to be here for you. I do have a job. I work as a doctor part-time. So I really don't need, if I chose to work as a doctor, I don't need any other income. But my aim is actually to be able to cut down a bit on those hours and to dedicate more work to this, because this is what I feel that I'm called to do. Yeah, long explanation, but I really want you to be able to trust me and know why I'm doing things. I'm very happy for every one of you that have subscribed and supporting me, giving me encouragement in the comments. It means a lot to me, and I'm very happy to be able to bring this knowledge and support and guidance to other survivors. Thank you for listening in. If you haven't watched it, I will link to this video. It's about breaking generational trauma and being a cycle breaker, and how important that work is. I think it can inspire you if you're feeling that this is hard. It is hard, but you're doing it right. I'm Emma, holding up a light over the bridge. See you in the next video.